The man who has grown addicted to solitude cannot be tempted by an ordinary woman. He has learned to see beyond faces. Solitude is the greatest teacher. And in this video, we are not going to talk about sadness, but about a new kind of vision. How does this man see women after the noise inside his heart has finally settled? The answer may not please many, but it is the truth. When you have spent years building a sanctuary of peace within yourself, you stop looking for someone to save you, and you start looking for someone who simply does not destroy what you have built. This is the great paradox of solitude. It does not make a man desperate for companionship. It makes him incredibly selective about who enters his space. Solitude is not a void. It is a filter. It is a teacher that strips away the need for external validation and replaces it with a rigorous, unshakable standard of truth. When a man emerges from a long period of being alone, he does not look at women with the eyes of a starving man looking for a meal. He looks with the eyes of a curator walking through a gallery, knowing exactly what belongs in his collection and, more importantly, what does not. The fear of being alone has vanished, replaced by a much deeper fear. The fear of returning to a life of noise, drama, and emotional clutter. This shift in perspective is not born of bitterness, it is born of clarity. It is the natural psychological evolution of a man who has learned that his own peace is the most valuable currency he owns. For decades, many men are driven by a biological and social imperative to chase. We are taught that the pursuit is the purpose. We are conditioned to believe that a woman's attention is the prize that validates our masculinity. But when a man steps out of that cycle, when he spends years unaccompanied, that drive begins to transmute. The chase loses its appeal. The frantic energy of trying to impress, to win over, to prove one's worth, dissolves into a calm stillness. He looks at a woman and he no longer asks, "How can I get her?" He asks, "Who is she really?" Beauty, while always appreciated, ceases to be a blinding force. He has lived long enough to know that a beautiful face can hide a chaotic spirit, and a charming smile can mask deep-seated, unresolved trauma. The older man, the man steeped in solitude, requires more than visual stimulation. He requires resonance. He seeks a stability that matches his own. He is no longer moved by the excitement of the unpredictable. He is moved by the profound allure of consistency. He has learned that the most attractive quality a woman can possess is not her physical form, but her emotional health. This period of solitude grants a man a highly developed radar. It is a psychological sensitivity that borders on a sixth sense. When you live in silence, you become an expert at hearing what is not said. You become attuned to the frequencies of human behavior that usually get lost in the noise of a busy relationship. He sees the micro-expressions. He hears the subtle changes in tone. He recognizes the patterns of emotional manipulation before they can even take root. This is not because he is cynical. It is because he is attentive. He has observed the world from a distance, and that distance has given him perspective. He notices hidden expectations. He sees the covert contracts, the unspoken agreements where affection is given only with the expectation of a specific return. He cannot be easily deceived by charm or sweet words because he is listening to the intention behind them. He sees the difference between a woman who wants a partner and a woman who wants a prop for her own life narrative. This clarity can be unsettling for others. It can make him seem detached or aloof, but in reality, he is simply protecting his energy. He is not willing to gamble his peace on a situation that feels misaligned. He can spot a storm on the horizon long before the first drop of rain falls, and he will quietly close the door rather than invite the hurricane inside. This leads to the most critical shift in his psychology, the silent trade-off that occurs in his mind every time he meets someone new. It is a calculation that happens almost instantly, yet it carries the weight of all his years alone. He measures every potential connection against one fundamental, non-negotiable question. Will your presence in my life bring me more peace than the solitude I already have? This is the standard. This is the bar. It is high and it is rigid. For a man who has learned to enjoy his morning coffee in absolute silence, who has organized his days according to his own rhythm, who has conquered his own demons without an audience, the cost of entry into his life is immense. He is not looking to fill a hole. He is looking to add value to an already complete existence. If a relationship promises drama, if it promises conflict, if it requires him to walk on eggshells, the answer is a simple, silent no. He chooses his quiet Sunday afternoon over the chaos of a dysfunctional connection every single time. This is not ego. It is the ultimate form of self-respect. He realizes that being alone is infinitely better than being with the wrong person. He has made friends with his solitude, and he will not betray that friendship for a fleeting moment of comfort. Furthermore, this man is no longer looking for a project. In his younger years, perhaps he played the role of the rescuer. Perhaps he was drawn to the damsel in distress, believing that his strength could fix her brokenness. But the years alone have taught him that we can only fix ourselves. He's done with the white knight complex. He does not want to be a father figure, a therapist, or a savior. He looks for a woman who is his equal. He looks for a companion, not a burden. He respects a woman who has her own life, her own interests, her own strength, and her own emotional stability. He wants two independent lives that run parallel and support one another, not two lives that are tangled in a knot of dependency. He seeks partnership. He wants a woman who can stand on her own 2 feet, just as he stands on his. He appreciates a woman who has done her own work, who understands herself, and who does not look to him to provide her with an identity. The older man values autonomy, both his and hers. He understands that the healthiest relationships are between two people who do not need each other to survive, but who choose each other to thrive. Ultimately, this perspective is one of immense liberation. It shifts the dynamic from need to choice. When a man no longer needs a woman to validate his existence, he is free to appreciate her for who she actually is, not for what she can do for him. He strips away the transactional nature of modern dating. He is not looking to extract value. He is looking to share peace. If he finds a woman who brings tranquility, warmth, and genuine connection, he treasures her deeply, perhaps more deeply than a younger man ever could, because he knows how rare that combination is. But if he does not find her, he does not despair. He does not feel like a failure. He simply returns to the sanctuary he has built, content in the knowledge that he has not compromised. Solitude, therefore, is not a punishment for the unwanted. It is a refinement for the wise. It is the fire that burns away the impurities of neediness and leaves behind the solid gold of self-possession. A man who has lived alone and found contentment there does not hate women, far from it. He honors them enough to refuse to use them as a crutch. He honors himself enough to wait for something real. He has walked through the fire of loneliness and come out the other side, not empty, but full. He sees clearly now, and once a man sees clearly, he can never go back to closing his eyes. Has the silence of your own life changed the way you view relationships? Does the peace you have built feel more valuable than the potential of a new connection? Think on that and share your truth.